is I'd like to have a quick explanation of what the darkness is. I definitely never do this explanation at the beginning because I never want anybody to get scared or put their focus on anything less than what they want. What may happen, though, as you move forward and start scanning a lot of different people, is you may stumble across a time where you scan somebody and you find something that looks very dark and scary. Well, here is my explanation of what happens with the dark. So let's suppose that we have a person. Whoops. Well, maybe actually we're going to make them upset. Okay, so there's my little person. Now, this person, suppose this is a woman who woke up one day and decided, I think my husband's having an affair. And it is such a powerful thought. And it is so ruled by fear and jealousy and anger and all of those horrible lower self emotions. So she wakes up and she has this thought. It doesn't really matter whether he's having an affair or not. She has this thought. So the second she has the thought, there it is. I'm going to make it dark and yucky because it really is a dark and yucky thought. This is our side. This is the other side. So she has this thought, and it goes and sits on the astral plane as a thought form. Because we learned when we used the rods that our thoughts move energy and create. So she's created this little thought form that's going to sit there. Now that may have a shelf life of, let's say, 2 to 3 hours, sitting there on the astral plane. But she doesn't just have it once. No, she's in that spiral now, right? Because she's just falling into that loop of negative thinking. So she thinks it over and over and over again and festers about it all day till it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So what started off as a negative thought that might have had a couple of hours of shelf life on the astral plane now has been fed and charged with so much emotion that now look at it, it's a big old ball. Now let's say that this has an ability to stay there on the astral plane. Maybe it's good enough now. It's charged up enough that it can last for 2 to 3 days. The problem with that is the longer that it sits there, the more opportunity it's going to have to collect more dark energy, more like energy, because it like attracts like. It's magnetic. So it grows and it gets bigger and bigger. And she gets up the next day and she does the exact same thing all over again. And what happens is this energy, if fed enough, is going to really start to take on form. It's going to start to take on shape. So when you see anything that's dark and yucky, it is manifested by the dark thoughts of mankind. And it is a manifestation of ego. That's all it is. So if you understand that we are all a piece of God, so we're all a piece of that greater whole that our higher self is connected to, and this is a piece of ego or the illusion that is the lower self, how could this ever hurt you? It can't. It just simply can't. And one of the most effective ways of dealing with that, if you do run across anything that looks dark or scary, is to either call on Archangel Michael to come and remove it for you, and he'll be happy to do so, or you use Lynn's technique, which is fill it with love, and it will instantly dissipate. What you don't ever want to do is fall into a place of fear, because what would fear do?
Make it bigger.
It would only make it bigger and stronger, right? Mm-hmm. So does that make it really clear to you what that is? Mm-hmm. So there's never anything to be afraid of, ever. Okay, so remember that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Usually if you see people with a lot of these kind of darker thought forms around them, it's because they've been living a pretty negative life or they're really entrenched in ego. You find a lot of that with people that have addictions. you'll find a lot of that kind of yucky stuff. Just don't worry about it. Or you can net it up and throw it up to the light, but Michael will always come and remove them. But now let's take this one step forward. If that works for yucky stuff, well, it's got to work for good stuff too, right? So this is why when they talk about, we're going to make a happy person this time, the law of attraction, that's how it works. We have a thought. We hold that thought. As we have the thought, we're creating it up on the astral. And it's emotions that charge it. And that's why with the law of attraction, so many of the masters of law of attraction say, feel it. Feel it as if it's already there. That's what gives it the power. So again, it will have the same effect. Remember that old expression, as above, so below? That's what it means. So everything exists that exists on our side exists on the other side as well. So this easel has its counterpart etherically. That's what your etheric body is when we scan, right? It is the energy counterpart of your physical body. So why not use this as a means of manifestation? Not just with standard law of attraction stuff by holding our thoughts and creating what we want and feeling it. You guys know how to get there now. So why not go there, make what you want, and trust that it will become your reality down here. So I decided that I was going to try this. It dawned on me one day, I thought, oh, I know how to go there. Why don't I just make what I want there and watch it happen here? So it was right before Christmas. This was a few years ago. And I thought to myself, how much money do I need for Christmas? How much money do I need to pay all my bills and buy all my presents? And I need $2,000. So I went to the other side and I created a stack of bills. I'll put dollar signs so you know what I've got here. A stack of bills. I saw them wrapped with a rubber band, $2,000. And what I did was from there, I was on the other side, I made a hole in the veil and I watched it fall through and land on my coffee table. The next day, I swear to God, the next day, a regular client that I had that I read for at home came into my house with a Christmas bonus for me. And every time she'd ever paid me, she paid me in an envelope. That one time she came in with the bills wrapped with a rubber band and dropped it on my table, $2,000 bonus for all the work I'd done for her the whole year. I manifested $2,000 in this technique in less than 24 hours. So, if it works for the bad stuff, it works for the good stuff too, right guys? And you know how to get there. So it's as simple as figuring out exactly what you want, going to the other side, seeing it in as clear detail as you can, making that hole in the veil and watching it drop into your reality. It's a really great manifestation technique. Okay? That's not the one we're going to use for today though. So what we're going to do for today is we're going to have a basket, which I'm going to bring out in a moment. And you're going to take your lists of everything that you wanted to create for yourselves, and we're going to put it in the basket, and we're going to do a quick little exercise. Now, for those of you at home, remember that there's no time or space. You can be part of this group and imagine that your requests are going into the basket, and it'll work just as well. So what I love about the basket is that for every class of this that I teach, your requests will be charged every single time. And I've had students come up to me all the time and tell me, oh, I got the job. Oh, I want you to come see the car. It's the exact car I put in the basket. People are getting everything from their lists because the act of writing it makes it so. The act of concentrating on it makes it so. Groups working together, it's way more than times 3 or 4 in the room when you have a bunch of people working. It magnifies and it gives it so much life. So that's how we're going to be doing our exercise in a minute. So do you have any questions about creating and thought forms? No? Not so scary when you look at it that way, is it? Yeah, good. Okay, that's it. We're going to come back for our manifestation exercise in a second.